Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Akanksha Sunil Karbor, FIBSC Chemistry student of DY Patil ACS Women's College, Pimpri. Today, I'm going to present a PPT presentation on drug molecules. So let's start. So, our first drug is metformin hydrochloride, which is sell under the brand name glucophage. Its medicinal use is basically it is used for the type 2 diabetes. So, what is metformin and for what is it used? So, it's a first line oral medication used for the treatment of type 2 diabetes. Now, what is type 2 diabetes? It is basically a condition in which the body processes blood sugar glucose the way it does. Now, with type 2 diabetes, the body that does not produce enough insulin or it resists insulin. So, what is the difference between a normal person and a diabetic person is a normal person, when you eat food, it is broken down into blood glucose, taken into bloodstream, and then inside the cell to use as a source of energy. And to enter inside the cell, it requires insulin as a key, which is secreted by the pancreas, which is located just behind your stomach. And whenever there is high glucose levels in blood, pancreas senses it and releases insulin, which then let the glucose enter inside the cells and use as a source of energy. What happens in a diabetic patient is either they don't produce enough insulin or their cells are resistant to insulin. So they don't respond to insulin and blood the glucose is left and that blood is taken to your kidneys for purification and the normal blood glucose level is basically 45 to 95 milligram per 100 ml of blood. Beyond 160 milligram per 100 ml of blood, it is not absorbed in your nephrons and it is, goes to urine and the patient is detected diabetes. So that is the difference. Now, the symptoms of the diabetic patients include thirst, frequent urination, hunger, fatigue, blurred vision. Its chemical name is N,N-dimethylbiguanide. Its appearance is white to off-white crystalline compound. Its molecular formula is C4H11N5 and its molecular weight is 165.63 moles. Here is its structure, you can see. Now, contents of the tablet are, it contains 500 mg or 750 mg of metformin hydrochloride as the active ingredient. Glucophage XR 500 mg tablets contain the inactive ingredient sodium carboxyl methyl cellulose, hypromellose, microcrystalline cellulose, and magnesium stearate. Here is the photograph of the tablet. So we are going to know about the how metformin was discovered and who discovered it and how it was developed. So basically, it was developed from the plant Gaelga officinalis, which is also known as French lilac or goat's rue. Here is its picture. And it was discovered by French physician Jean Stern. Metformin was rediscovered in the search for anti-malarial agents in the 1940s and during clinical tests proved useful to treat influenza when it sometimes lowered blood glucose. This property of lowering the blood glucose was pursued by French physician Jean Stern, who first reported the use of metformin to treat diabetes in 1957. Here is the picture of the person. And its side effects basically nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, the most common side effects of metformin drug. And these problems usually go away over time. So yeah, thank you. I conclude my presentation over here.
Okay. Very nice presentation, Akanksha. Okay, I have one
Thank you,
question.
sir.
Good, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sanjana Pardesi, and today my topic of discussion will be medicinal drugs. So we will be discussing two very common drugs that you can take from a pharmacist shop without prescription in case of very common types of illnesses or disorders. let's first focus on some general terms and that will come across this presentation. So, antipyretic. Pyretics means a high amount of fever. So, antipyretic is any substance that will be used to reduce fever. Anaphylaxis. Anaphylaxis is a rapid allergic reaction that can be fatal. Whenever there is some sort of foreign substance in our body reacts to eliminate it. So sometimes our body can react incorrectly, and thus we can go into an anaphylactic shock. That is a huge cytokine storm or a huge allergic reaction. Inflammation is similar to anaphylaxis, but it is not lethal. Inflammation is important for the body, as it is a biological response to infection that can turn problematic if excessive reaction happens. So it is important, but not when it is not used or not required. Adverse effects are nothing but undesired secondary effect in addition to desired therapeutic effect of drug. Now, every drug has some type of side effect, because we are putting chemicals in our body to treat a disease, and in an overdose or in high doses, it can affect our body in a not a very desired way. Pharmacology is a study of drug action in the body. So every how a drug reacts in the body, from what organs and from what cells it reacts, we can study in the pharmacology of the drugs. And the last is a trade name. So whenever a drug is approved for use, there are only certain licensed companies that can formulate it, and that can produce it in the laboratories. Not everyone can produce it, because many of the drugs can be addictive to people, to humans. Therefore, only certain licensed companies can provide them to certain licensed pharmacies. So these companies have a trade name or brand name of the medicine. So our first drug is ibuprofen. Its chemical formula is C13H18O2. So first picture is its planar structure, and the second picture is a three-dimensional structure. You can see a benzene ring, and its other names, common names, include isobutyl phenyl propionic acid. You can see a propionic acid on the right side, then we have a phenyl and isobutyl group attached to the phenyl group. Now its trade name, what brand names it is available in a pharmacist shop. In the US, it is called as Advil, and in India, it is called as Combiflam. Its uses are antipyretic, that means it reduces fever, and analgesic, it will reduce pain. It is a painkiller medicine also. It now what all pain it reduces? It can reduce pain from osteoarthritis, that is arthritis of bones. Post-operative, that is after surgery, the pain the patient can suffer from pain, so it is used to treat that. Simple headaches can also be treated from ibuprofen, and the pain from kidney stones can also be treated. It also treats inflammation from juvenile idiopathic arthritis. So juvenile, that means little children or kids. Idiopathic is something whose the reason of pain or reason of origin of disease it is not known. And arthritis is the inflammation of the joints. So in kids, when sometimes arthritis occurs and we don't know from where it is occurring, it is used to treat the pain there temporarily. And rheumatism is another form of arthritis. It also treats pericarditis. Pericarditis is nothing but inflammation or infection of the lining of the heart. Usually the lining or the outer membrane of the heart is sterile. There is no bacteria or other microorganism. But in case it happens, it can prove fatal for us. Therefore, it treats pericarditis. And ductus arteriosus. So patient ductus arteriosus is nothing but when we are born, there is a small depression in the heart that fills out as we grow older. You can say a type of hole in the heart that fills out when we grow older. In some patients, it does not grow. It does not fill up. So, and it can cause pain in adult life. Therefore, ibuprofen is used to treat the pain. Now, let us look at the adverse effects. So, the common adverse effects include such as nausea, indigestion, diarrhea, constipation, gastrointestinal bleeding, dizziness, a rash, and high BP. These are the common side effects that you can experience in high doses of any medicine. But there are also some specific side effects that only this medicine causes. and these are allergic reactions such as anaphylaxis, a heart attack in case you take a very high dose or overdose at one time. You take a lot of pills at one time, so it can cause heart attack, a stroke, hyperkalemia. Hyperkalemia is nothing but high level of potassium in the body, and it can worsen asthma. If you have asthma and you take this medicine, so your condition will, although it will reduce the pain, but it will still increase the blockage in the lungs. It decreases the effect of aspirin. Aspirin is another painkiller, but if taken with ibuprofen, the effect of aspirin will decrease, and it is very dangerous if consumed with alcohol because it can cause instant stomach bleeding. Now let's look at this pharmacology. Pharmacology is very simple. There is an enzyme called cyclooxygenase in the body that converts arachidonic acid to prostaglandins. Now, what are prostaglandins? Prostaglandins are responsible for mediating inflammation, pain, fever, and swelling. So the feelings of pain, fever, swelling, and inflammation are mediated by prostaglandins. So if you want to curb these symptoms, or if you want to cure these symptoms, what we should do, we should first inhibit the prostaglandins in the body. So what ibuprofen does, it inhibits the enzyme cyclooxygenase because it is responsible for producing prostaglandins. So eventually, all these symptoms in the bodies are reduced as prostaglandins are reduced. Now, how it is administered? It is basically administered as a racemic mixture. The ibuprofen has enantiomers, that is R and S. It is optically, both are optically active, and together they are optically inactive. So the S enantiomer is much more active than the R enantiomer. So S enantiomer will, gradually convert the R enantiomer into an S enantiomer when it is taken in the body. So the tablet that comes, it is a mixture of both the enantiomers in solid form, and in the body, the rapid conversion will take place to the S enantiomer, and then it will work. Now let's look at this chemistry. It is insoluble in water but soluble in organic solvents, and how it is derived. So you can see the first compound here. It is a 2-aryl propionate, and 2-aryl propionate there are 6 steps involved in this procedure, and the 2-aryl propionate is then converted to the ibuprofen, as you can see. Alpha methyl acyl CoA racemase is an enzyme that converts R to S product. The first product that you can see is the R product, in that the hydrogen is backwards, and the second product is the S product. The hydrogen you can see is forwards. So that is one slight, that is called as enantiomer. That is one because they are not superimposable right now. Now, 2-methylpropylbenzene is starting compound. The compound first you can see is 2-methylpropylbenzene, and 6 steps takes place, and then ibuprofen is formed. Now, our next drug is diphenhydramine. So, diphenhydramine, the formula is C17H21NO. You can see the structure in the diagram, and its trade name everywhere is Benadryl. We have all heard of Benadryl. There are advertisements on the TV also. Its uses. Benadryl has a lot of uses because it is an amine, and it acts on a lot of areas of the brain. It acts on a lot of areas of the skin, etc. And therefore, it has hundreds of uses. But its main uses will always be to treat common cold. It is antihistamine that is used to treat itchiness. Histamine is an hormone that causes allergic reactions. So Benadryl is an antihistamine that treats itchiness. It also treats common cold, insomnia. Insomnia is when a person can't sleep at night, and motion sickness. It brings relief to Parkinson's disease patients as antipsychotic. Parkinson's is a neurodegenerative disease, and it causes, people can't walk in it, and the patients, they suffer from delusions and hallucinations, and they have severe memory loss. And that's why this may put them in depression or psychosis. So Benadryl is used as an antipsychotic to bring relief to Parkinson's patients. It is an excellent sedative. Once, if you give it to little kids, they will fall asleep fast enough. It can also be used as a local anesthetic in very concentrated amount. It is also used as an antidepressant. When we will see how this takes place further. The recommended age of use is 6 to 60 years of age. That means pretty much everyone can take a Benadryl if they suffer from any of these symptoms. Now its adverse effects. Now careless dose can result in prolonged sedation. If we give, if we give a high amount of it in its diluted form in a high amount to someone, it can result in prolonged sedation. Person can sleep for a long time. Very common side effects are dry mouth, increased heart rate, pupil dilation, urinary retention, and constipation. Now, high dose, which and the second point, all these will take place when you take it for a long period of time. That means you take one tablet for a long period of time, so these symptoms can take place. But what if you take a overdose at one time? What if you take a lot of tablets at one time? So it will cause serious reactions such as hallucinations, flushed skin, blurred vision, photophobia, that is a fear of bright light, memory loss, and erectile dysfunction. It can also cause hepatic impairment. Now, diphenhydramine is metabolized by the liver and then it is put in the bloodstream. So in high doses, it can cause the liver impairment and hives. Hives are nothing but rashes on the skin. If taken in a recreational dose means people that are drug addicts, they don't require medicine, but they still take it. So if you take diphenhydramine, it can cause these serious implications to the body. Now, its pharmacology, it works as an antagonist. Now, there are many feedback mechanisms in the body, but that work on, if we give some amount in the bloodstream, so it will reduce its amount, etc. It works an antagonist, that it will directly work on the problem. It will not try to change the hormone levels or anything. It will directly work on what is the problem in the body. It blocks histamine receptor. Histamine is, as I said, is a hormone that produces allergic reactions. So it blocks histamine receptor, so the histamine does not get recepted by the receptor, and this reduces allergic reaction. There are acetylcholine receptors of brain. Whenever nerves want to pass electrical messages to the brain or any other part, so there are acetylcholine receptors which allow our nervous system to do it. So it will block those receptors, and this results in combating Parkinson's symptoms. As I said earlier, Parkinson's is a neurodegenerative disorder. So what if we just block the receptors of the brain? So there will be no symptoms. Although it will not be cured, but the symptoms will get reduced. It can also block sodium channels. Sodium channels are intracellular channels between the cells of the skin, and nerves. And if we block those channels, then it will work as a local anesthetic because we won't feel anything. Sodium channels are nothing but channels between nerves and skin cells. And it has serotonin inhibiting effects and acts as antidepressant. So serotonin is the hormone that regulates our feeling of happiness or sadness. So if it inhibits serotonin levels in the body, and it acts as an antidepressant. Let's look at its chemistry. It is derived from diphenyl methane. So you can see first product is diphenyl methane, and some reactions takes place, and then we get our diphenhydramine. It is metabolized in the liver. And how it is detected? Gas chromatography with mass spectrometry is a method that is known as GCMS, and it is used to determine its levels in the blood, because its high levels can cause, you can see, very serious implications such as hallucinations, etc. So whenever a patient comes in with those symptoms, so they first screen the blood to see if diphenhydramine is present in the blood or not. So gas chromatography is used to determine its levels. Thank you.